Yes.
I think it worked. Yes, wiggling works. Okay, we are live. I am so excited. I'm just going to jump straight into it. My name is Brittany Bateman. I go by Brittany Brainstorm. I am the creative director of the creative studio Brainstorm Boutique. We create confident brands through brand strategy and design, web design, brainstorm intensives, and confidence coaching. So, we love what we do, and we're so excited tonight because we have a very special guest who's one of our clients. So I'm so excited to dig more into that. But Casey, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Casey Lachelle at Brainstorm Boutique, the resident confidence coach. Tonight we have Nathalie with us. She is the Texas born and raised macrame artist behind Fringe and Free. She's drawn to simple and natural aspects of life. Colors, textures, and feelings of nature constantly inspire her. Each design is hand knotted at home with a desire that each one will add warmth, breath, and peace to the spaces they go to. Nathalie puts her whole heart into her designs and is an inspiration to many. She is truly intentional with every part of her business. So the topic of the night is having a business that expresses your personal values and how that just brings more happiness to your life. I feel like Nathalie was just the best choice for this.
Yes.
100%. As somebody who is like blessed enough to have a weekly call with Nathalie, I can say she's just like truly living her truth. Nathalie, is there anything you want to add? Like what are your top values in your business, and how do you feel about living like this and having a business like this? That was like a 4-part question. Nathalie, pick apart my word problems. Values on a train.
Well, thank y'all so much for having me. I'm so excited to just chat with both of you. I love you both so much.
Yeah, we love you too. Definitely.
Like this exact topic, like it's just very, very great that I can talk with y'all about it, because like, it was whenever I first met Brittany, like a year and a few months ago, and I was sharing with her the name of Fringe and Free, and just being real. Like I wanted her to know like the meaning behind the name, which is named after the woman in the Synoptic Gospel who had a bleeding disorder, and she had gone to many doctors, and she had gone through all of her money without any healing, and she chased after Jesus. She was in a crowd, and she touched the fringe of his robe, just really wanting to be healed and believing that Jesus was a way to be healed. And in the text it said that Jesus felt something like leave him, like the healing like left him, or I don't even know what that really was, but she was healed, and he turned and he said, "Who touched me?" And she's like, "I did." And he said, like, "Peace be with you. You've been healed. Your faith has healed you." And that story just means everything to me. But I wasn't sure if I was going to share that, like, and be transparent, like, with the world about it. I just wanted the name to be something that in my heart I knew I could stand on, like, as a foundation. But whenever I was talking through that with Brittany, I was like, should I write this in my about page? And should it be? And at that time, I didn't even know, like, what a content pillar was. And, like, that, this was still just, like, the beginning stages of making, like, the first step to e-commerce. And she listened, and it was great because, like, at our first call, she really just listened and absorbed the pulse of, like, what I was trying to convey. And then later on, I'm so thankful she did this, but she just really encouraged me. And she said, I've thought about it. I'm not even sure if it's my place to say. I really think you should tell the story, the real story, and it should be, not something that you just keep it in your heart. But I think there's a place, and every person I've told this to, I think she told it to her mom, maybe a few other people. And anyway, she was like, I just appreciated it, and I felt a great connection. I had already started trusting her, and so I really just took it to heart, and I thought about it, and I'm so glad that I did from the very beginning make it at least in the about page. But that's where in that beginning stage of business, I had only ever worked for somebody else up until that point.
Wow.
And so I was so used to like getting permission to do things. And this was at the point where I'm like, I get to make the choices, and it was so open-ended. I didn't have any supervisor or vice president to like, okay, even emails. I'm like, I was used to going through so many protocols before I could like mass shoot an email, but I'm like, I get to decide all of this. And it's taken me a whole year to get to the point where I can tell you my values, my content pillars. But it's taken this whole time for that to come out. So anyways, I felt like that backstory was very important.
Yes,
absolutely.
It is so important. Actually, real quick, we have a comment from Melanie Bickett saying, "Hello, gorgeous ladies." Melanie is our mother, and she is a huge fan of Fringe and Free.
Oh, yeah.
So,
amazing writer.
Yeah,
she is.
Blows me away.
She really is. We're biased, but it's the truth.
I'd also like to point out in the bio, I didn't know where to stick it in, but Nathalie is also selling all organic, 100% organic, grown in Texan cotton, USA made, slow fashion, completely ethical shirts. They're not, they're just plain shirts. I've got the red one with the white one layered underneath it because I love that color contrast. Yeah. Brittany's wearing it. I love these shirts. I can't stop.
I love it.
Everyday tea. I love it. You guys are wearing them.
We love them.
I won't not wear them. I literally can't not like.
It's the everyday tea.
She wears it every day, honestly. Yeah. Every day I see her, she's wearing it.
I've got the green one, the red one, the white one. I'm just like.
So, Nathalie, I do want to go more in depth in your t-shirts, but I think we might do that in just a little bit. But so you gave us the backstory of your business and the meaning behind your brand, but I want to go back to the question Casey asked you. I know we like threw that out at you, but what are your top values with your business now that you've had this time to grow in your business? What have you defined those for yourself?
Definitely. And it was also, again, sideways kind of thanks to y'all. You had someone on your live, Amber from Salt Light Social. Yes. And I connected with her. Casey recommended that I talk with her too. And so I did. And I was talking with her. We were trying to develop like an Instagram strategy. And I didn't really know what was involved in that. So I was like, okay, we're just going to emphasize a new product, cycle through all the products. But she helped me view Instagram differently. And, but in order to answer, okay, what are your content pillars? I had to establish them as a business. And so faith first, specifically faith in Jesus Christ is definitely there because I can't separate that from myself. And this is why I'm doing small business, because I get to make choices, and it's like part of that freedom that I get to just, it's a reflection of me. And so I made that choice. Second is all the material that I use is natural. And so I really try to stay away from synthetics, even down to like my packaging. I think I only have one item that has plastic, and it's just because whenever I order it, it already comes in plastic packaging. So instead of throwing it away, I just reuse that part. But like I never buy like even anything plastic.
That's awesome.
So all natural materials, that's important to me for a few reasons. But then another one is supporting small business. And so what that looks like for me is anytime I have a purchasing choice, if it's possible for me to purchase from a neighbor, then I do. Sometimes it's not possible, and sometimes I have to define what neighbor means. Sometimes a neighbor literally is, the next city over. Sometimes it's just staying within the United States of America. So I've prioritized that as much as possible. And so, those are basically the things that we care about at Fringe and Free.
Yeah, I think that I love how you said defining what a neighbor is. Because, and this is something that I've said a lot, is that lately with Amazon, it feels like Walmart is a small mom and pop shop that I'm afraid is going to go under. You know what I mean? Because it's it's so huge. And I feel like having access to like other people and stuff like that in order to like maintain the small businesses keeping each other afloat. I like feeling like you're not like just that you're willing to reach out to another state and know that that's still just as good, if not better, than doing like one of those fast fashion global weird things, you know?
Yeah. It's a big deal. Even like with the shirts that y'all are wearing, there were many other brands that have organic cotton, but it's not organic cotton that's actually grown even in the United States. Thankfully, these are actually grown in my state, Texas, which is just awesome. And for it to be organic is really special, not just from like a cool, natural, like trendy keyword search, but like truly the amount of pesticides used in organic, not in organic, and just regular cotton is crazy. If you ever look into those stats. But really what that means, okay, like my neighbors, the farmers growing this cotton, if it's organic, it's actually safer for them. It's better for our land. And so there's certain values that you just naturally care about more whenever it's close to home. And so it's like, it's organic, it's going to be safe for you, for them, for the neighborhood, for the state. Like, it's just a good thing all around. And I don't know, it's exciting. And it's exciting to wear them because they're such a good product. They're so comfortable and it just feels just like this is a great one.
I love that. Do you ever feel like would you have any advice for business owners who are too nervous to like live their truth and live what their values are? Would you have any advice for them if they're listening tonight or listening to the replay?
To a Brainstorm boutique. Having y'all to talk through some of this. So I do, some of my bigger projects, of course, I've worked with Brittany, and then I work weekly with Casey, and then probably monthly I'm still like emailing Brittany or talking to her through Instagram. There's like so many, gosh, okay, I was reading actually just today the story about Moses, and Moses was, for one, he was in battle, and he was supposed to keep his staff up, but his arms were getting really weak, and so Aaron and Hur, they held his hands for him, and he couldn't do it anymore. But whenever I think they brought stones or something to support him, he was able to do it. The battle was won, and it was all wonderful. And then shortly after that, Moses's father-in-law, he's like, Moses, you can't do this all on your own. You can't be the only like person in between God and the people. You need to have more people that you can trust. And he said, find people who are trustworthy and who won't take a bribe and put them in charge. And like, that's so good. Like, you need to have a team and they need to be trustworthy. And anyways, y'all are my team. So I recommend whatever it is, like, you find your team and let them make sure they're trustworthy and honest, that they're not going to take a bribe. And, sometimes it takes a season to be with someone to like really know like who they are. And, if you find out it isn't the right match, okay, there's still, go find your people. But I found my people. So it's so much easier to live your truth because you're surrounded by people who are supporting you.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That's
community
so true.
is so important.
It really is.
So important.
You know what you had to say about the honesty and trustworthiness and all of that. That is like one of our key values with our business, is just making sure that anything we do is with integrity, but not at someone else's expense. Because I think it's so easy to get caught up in like dollar amounts, whenever you're talking to someone, like looking at people like an invoice amount. And that's just one thing that I'm so adamant about, is that we don't look at potential clients as this amount. It's, do they have a problem we can truly solve for them? And, can we work on finding, something that makes both parties happy? Because it's so, I feel like, especially in the online space, like I feel like we were so lucky to have found each other, Nathalie, in the online space. We're not local to each other. It was really by God that we found each other. And it's so hard to find people you can trust in the online space and know that you're not just another opportunity for them, but they actually care about you and what they can offer you.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's something that I'm really, really passionate about. So I really appreciate you saying that, because I always want to make sure that whatever me and Casey do comes off as and is truly about honesty, but we hope that that's portrayed too, to people. So thank you for saying that. That means a lot.
I think being genuine is something that people want now. Like it's like the new like commodity is like, oh, this is a genuine person, or oh, I'm so genuine, and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really difficult to like truly be a genuine, authentic person, and not just try to sell it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I think it's really hard to like, I think a lot of people say that whole like hashtag no filter when they actually do have a filter on. And I think that translates in all, you know what I mean? The whole online space, and in-person space. I think that we're all like that.
Yeah.
I think that it's really important when building a community, being part of somebody's team, what have you, everybody just kind of puts their weird power little complexes aside and just tries to like focus on, okay, this is so-and-so's idea. Let's try to add to it, make it better if we can, and understand that somebody is, you know, a leader and taking charge on it and making decisions in their own regard. That
Absolutely. Well, speaking about all the things that you listed as your values, Nathalie, how do you see your values overlapping with your business? And really, because it's part of your personal life too.
Yeah, I'm not sure I grasped that question completely, Val.
So actually, I'll be a little bit more specific. How do you see like your business values and your personal values overlapping in your business?
So I think it's actually harder for me to separate the two. Even just shopping locally, I view that as, whenever in the scriptures and it says love your neighbor, like that's why. Like if I have a chance of actually knowing someone and supporting their business, like I'm commanded to do that. Like it's just like that's really important. And I will never know most of the people who are making things that are imported. Like in one regard, it's really difficult to get anything that's like doesn't have anything imported in it. Like that's hard. Even a lot of things that I make, like my raw materials, some of them are made here, some of them aren't. So like part of it, that's just really hard. And the way that business has been done here for so long and are outsourcing, some people just don't even know how to. Some of our skill set it's just gone. So like there's that. But going back to when possible, support your neighbors. I think there's a difference between the people that you can actually know and do life with versus those that you'll never meet. You don't even share the same language. Like it's hard. And actually, Casey and I have talked about this before, and it's something that I'm constantly thinking about because I grew up in, I don't know if it was just a culture. I don't know if it was like a Christianity culture thing. I don't know if it was just my family or something. But and it's funny because my husband, he's from China, and they have the same thing I'm about to share in China, where strangers or guests are treated like the hospitality is grand. It's great. You treat your guests so wonderful. You treat the strangers really well, but your own family. It's really like you get the short end of the stick. Like for me growing up, that's what the case was. And in China, like I was treated so well. Once I became married in the family, I am no longer the guest, and like harsh truth is spoken. And anyways, I was talking with Casey about this in business, where like sometimes whenever you're doing business with friends, it can be it's scary because you're like, I don't know if they're gonna end up like, because we're so familiar with each other, if we're gonna end up disrespecting each other, or they're gonna make choices for me, like they're assuming I'm gonna act a certain way. And feelings get hurt. Sorry, that's my dog in the background.
That's all right.
But trying to create, doing business, I hope that connotation can change where it's actually a great connotation where like doing business with someone is really respectful. And if you know your neighbors, if you know the people you're doing business with, that means like they're going to know your life. They're going to know when things are struggling, like in your marriage or something. And you're still able to be, I don't know, I'm still working it out even in my mind, but I think that there's a really great, wholesome way to do business that includes doing life with your neighbors or with the people that you work with. And it's not a 9 to 5, before 9, don't talk to me, after 5, don't talk to me.
Yes.
And it's like business and personal life. It's actually like a very beautiful mixing of business and personal life. But I'm still working all of that out. That's still very new to me. And we're just, trying to change the culture of that, at least within Fringe and Free.
Yeah, I feel like coming from country homes, like you coming from Texas, us coming from a country Midwestern home, you do kind of get that where it's like, everybody's on their best behavior when like Aunt so-and-so, who like you literally do not know, is in town. But then like, like I was saying earlier, like, the more you know a family, then the more you're like, all right, I'm pitching in chores and stuff like that, which is a beautiful thing, truly a beautiful thing. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I feel like whenever we had that conversation a few weeks ago, Natalie, that like we both agreed on that we should always be that grand and hospitable to people, no matter how long we know them and how close we are to them. Like kind of just continuing to put that effort and building that effort the more we know someone. That's kind of like, I don't even know what that looks like because I feel like that's so anti the way that we do things. I guess globally, probably,
I think the very big buzzword is boundaries, with business boundaries in your life and that sort of thing. And boundaries are healthy, but I do believe that there's a way to have business friendships. Like I consider you a friend, Natalie, like a really, really great friend that I met through business. And I think we've been a good example of how we can respect each other's business, support each other in the business, but still have like these personal conversations and support each other in life beyond you as a macrame artist or me as a brand designer, a web designer and stuff like that, or Casey with her confidence coaching and brainstorming intensives. Like, I think there's a way that as a business, we can define those things, but it definitely helps when the other person is that way back to us. Because sometimes you can give so much of your pure intentions to someone else, and then they either take advantage of it or they're opportunistic with it, or they're always constantly looking for a way to sell to you rather than building a true relationship where it feels natural when it's time to work together, rather than like, oh, well, I'm feeling pressured, right, to work with this person versus, oh, they have given me the information I need. They've given me the support I need, and now I'm ready, financially or mentally or whatever that is. I'm ready now to work with that person. I see this happen a lot in business where it can just be, you have to have your boundaries, but then you wish that you could have that openness with other people. So I see the struggle in that.
Insert need for prayer daily.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. I love the fact though that love thy neighbor is a huge cornerstone in your business, because I really truly believe that you do an amazing job at creating a community with your customers, and them feeling like that they're always a part of your journey. And really, like, I always love to see what new thing you're doing, or I'm always really supportive if you're continuing to doing something that's successful for your business.
Yeah, I love the namesake keychain.
Oh yeah.
It's like how literally every single part of it is like embodies love thy neighbor and embodies like what, you know, Fringe and Free is.
So true.
You didn't talk about the namesake keychain. That is like
Yeah.
the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that's a great example. So, of course, it goes back to the name of the business, Fringe and Free, and the tassel that the woman reached out to touch on Christ Road. And it doesn't look exactly like what I made, but for simplicity, we just made it into a cute tassel. But the materials are incredible. So I used a huge chunky bead that's made with some really awesome wood. And a man by the name of John, he's a Navy veteran that I met at a local artisans market. He uses like a wood lathe, and that skill set is just incredible. But he hand turned every single one of these beads. They're so neat. And then there's all different kinds of natural fibers that I used in that tassel. And so some of them are dyed cotton that I did. Some of them are from a local farm to the DFW area. It's an alpaca farm.
Oh, fun.
They shear the alpacas, which does not harm alpacas. Like they're just their hair, but they shear them. They spin the fiber and sell it. And so I have a few different alpacas of hair. There's Moonshine. There's what are the other two? Toby and forgot the third one's name. But their annual shearing festival is actually coming up. If you're in Texas, anyone listening in Texas, in the next few months, you should look up Texture Farm, TXTURE, Texture Farm.
I like that.
Their background's marketing. They're amazing.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, they're really, they know what they're doing. But anyways, they like left that career and just decided to do this alpaca lavender farm. And
wow.
Yeah, and then even like the tags are made by a friend of mine, and y'all know her, Rebecca, in Georgetown.
Yes.
And then even the paper hang tags are printed in the town right beside me. So it's just, I just don't think I could support any more small businesses like with that. It's like loaded. I love it.
And your logo was done by someone local to you too, right? She's so talented. I love her work.
Yeah, she is cool.
Amber.
Yes.
Amber Anderson.
Amber Anderson. Yep.
Yeah, I love her work.
Design.
She really is. I think I said this last time when I saw your logo. I was so jealous that I didn't make it, but I knew, you know, like that was like her vision, you know, with you guys working together and going back and forth. And I remember when you sent me over your branding guide, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm so happy to work with her.
Yes.
She got her act together.
Yeah, I love working with Amber, and that was like one of the first times where for our first logo rendition, I just wasn't feeling it, and I wasn't used to communicating something like that. Like, I'm not feeling this, and learning how to communicate things clearly, being empathetic and genuine, but being clear. So that was like that was a test.
How did that process go, Natalie? I've never heard this story.
It was a good thing to go through at the very beginning of, you know, the whole business journey. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard to communicate some things. Words are not my strong suit, and so that's constantly a prayer even that I have. It's like my feelings and my words aren't matching. Please create a match, because it's just hard right now. I know they're not matching. But with that one, it was all done over email, and I think for that one, I just told her that, the logo just wasn't, it was a logo, it was, I think, another sort of a macrame design. And I had never done that macrame design, like personally, and I wasn't sure if I was going to. And I was nervous that it was going to just not be a reflection of what my work was going to be around. And I ended up, thankfully, early on, I knew that square knots were just something that I love to use. And so I asked if we could just make it very simple. Can we just make it a square knot, like one of the very basic very simple knot. And I didn't ask her to redo the logo like 5 times. It was only, I think we only did like that one change, but it did take, I mean, changing a logo and design, that is pretty intense. But I've also came at it like, if this is going to be more time or too much more time, bill me for it, because I do respect your time. This just does mean a lot. This is going to be something that I'm going to stick with for a long time. So even just communicating that, and I try to add that sort of language with whatever product I'm working on. Like, if you feel uncomfortable, let me know. If I feel uncomfortable, I'm going to let you know. And let's just try to be honest with each other, and we'll check in. But even if I don't check in, please give me the benefit of the doubt and let me know how things are on your end, because you just have to have a lot of grace with everyone. So, yeah, it worked
really
out. You did wonderful. I loved it. And
I'm really proud of you for getting what you want from a designer too, because I know what it's like to kind of, this is like kind of irrelevant, but you know that feeling of like when you get a haircut that you don't like? I feel like you can get that way in like any type of service. You kind of just sitting there and you're looking at your bangs and you're like, that's not it, you know? I think that it always offers the designer a way to kind of like reconcile things and be like, oh, I can do other things. Like, it's really no skin off my teeth to make you happy. It's better if I make you happy, because then you're going to be sharing it loudly and proudly. And it's always one of those things that when you send off a logo, you're like, I hope they tell me the truth. Really hope it's the truth. No weirdness. It's just the truth back.
You know, I had, I'm working on a brand for a really fun company right now. And I sent over and I always specify, like, this is a first round of drafts. This is just some ideas off the top of my head, so I can get feedback on what you're liking, what kind of style you're liking. And this person, she's so wonderful. She wrote me back and she's like, I'm going to be honest. When I first looked at them, they reminded me of like a specific body part, if you will. And I was like, okay, we don't want it to look like that. So, these are this is the feedback I need. And so we, went back and forth, and I was able to like really refine based on that feedback. But for someone, that can be like really difficult to be like, you know what, Brittany, I kind of seen this, and just because I don't see it doesn't mean they don't see it, or vice versa. Right. And but having the, and I told her from the very beginning, whenever we had a consultation call, it's like, I want you to know, like, I want you to be very honest with me. Do not worry about hurting my feelings, because I want you to be happy, and the only way we're going to make you happy is if you give me very clear feedback. And she did, and I'm so thankful she did, because we did a whole other round. Very clear. I was able to send it back to her, and then, and start that process. But I think a lot of times, especially when you're in that beginning, like, draft phase too of a logo, people kind of think it's like the final product, and you have to be very clear, like, we're in the exploratory phase, right? Like, nothing is final. This is just rough ideas, and then we're going to refine as we continue to, carry along with feedback. So, like, for me, like, that's the kind of experience I had actually just very recently. And I think it's so important for people to know that when you're working with your brand, like, at least for me, it's so important for me to have my clients have like a really true collaborative experience on that, because I feel like it does allow you to be more vocal, and then allow you to give grace back and forth, because then you've started that really positive banter with each other, which is priceless. But I love your branding. I know Amber nailed it, and I'm so glad that you were comfortable to like say, hey, actually, let's go in this direction, because it just goes to show how much your business, how you want to be presented. And this was at such a very beginning stage of your business, which is so huge.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, like, you saw it and you were like, I just don't want that knot.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I didn't specify. It's got to be a square knot.
I love that. Oh, Kelsey just commented and said, listening while I edit, I love her macrame. Kelsey, thank you for watching. Kelsey was Captain Breaker. She is Oberholtz now. She just got married. She is a very talented videographer in our area. She does like the most beautiful wedding films. And she also digitizes VHS tapes, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like
your home videos.
Yeah.
And she'll put them on the, do what she does. I don't know how you do it. I don't know.
We don't know how Kelsey
My
does
laptop,
does,
I can't fit a cassette in here, let alone a VHS.
Right. I just had to pull out Office DVDs because I wasn't getting all the seasons on Hulu, and I was like, "Wait, where's my DVD player? I forgot how to use this."
We actually owned things. Kelsey says, haha, I struggle with saying that too. Kelsey's so great. Thanks for watching, Kelsey, while you edit. I can't wait to see your new videos you're going to post. But Nathalie, so we've talked about a lot of different things, obviously, but around the values. And actually, how do you feel like values change throughout your lifetime? I'm kind of going to steal a question that I think Casey might have wanted to ask, but I liked it. I saw your face.
Oh, that's such an open-ended one. I wish I knew. I would plan ahead and do it now. Gosh, yeah. How do I think values, like my own values, will change, or just how to have grace for yourself to?
Even like now, like a year ago, right? Or like when we very first started working together and you were on Etsy, you didn't have your own website. Like, have you seen a shift in your values even during that period of your business?
So I've become a huge champion for other small businesses to the point where like it's actually one of my content pillars. So it's like actually intentional time that I try to just love on other small businesses. That's new for me, and I don't think I would have, if the struggle wasn't as hard as it is to be successful as a small business. I don't think that would have come. Even just getting reviews, like there's some products where I know I've sold many of them, but just to get like one review, just to get one person onto the website to leave a review of one product, like it's hard because then you have, Amazon with literally thousands of reviews, 4.5 and above, like that social proof. It used to be really hard to like compete with, but now I think people also are aware of like there's just numbers with that. There are bots. There are people you can like pay as long as you have email addresses, like with certain, even like Google reviews. Like there are ways around it. I think we're becoming aware of that. So it's hard to compete with big anything. Like fill in the blank, big anything. It's hard to compete with. But I found by just helping other small businesses just be their cheerleader, like I don't know, it's just become really important to me, and I have like no way of like what's the return on the time I spend like cheering them on. Like I have no way to quantify that. It's just something I really want to do, but I do think it does end up helping, but in ways that maybe isn't a dollar amount, or at least not right now. I have faith it's all going to work out, and it just feels great whenever you can actually change like a product. Like Brittany, I think you shared recently a skincare product that you just love. Like I think that's great. Like I think whenever you can find that, like I feel the same way about my current like skincare, small business made skincare. It's like it's just joy. Like you're literally putting it on your body, and like the people's hands who actually made it. There's just something amazing about that. If we can just share that with more people, just even spending money feels so, I don't know, it's like retail therapy I've always loved, but small business retail therapy is powerful.
Because it was funny when we were getting when we had our brand shoot with Nina, we were all standing in there, Joel included, and we all realized that we all had the same hairdresser, had touched our heads like within a week, and we were all wearing her lotions. And so we were just sitting there, we're like, Sonia's literally touching everyone right now. This entire room is all Sonia right now. Like,
We did.
Everything. We're all just like, hi, I'm Luna Silk. It's really good too. She does a really great job.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You know, I love you saying that, Natalie, because that's such an important thing with my business, is like really recognizing people who, not just who we work with, but people who we've tried their products or we really believe in. Because it can feel so lonely when you're putting your heart out there. Like, it, you know, when you make macrame, like your whole heart goes into that. Whenever I do a logo, like it really, truly, my whole heart goes into that. And when Casey's teaching people like the confidence coaching through the program she's created, like her whole heart is into that. And it can feel so scary to be so vulnerable with your art, with your products, with your business. And, you know, what the meme that's been going around right now is like, oh yeah, your friends have shared Rhiannon and Rhiannon's pregnant, but have they shared anything about your small business in the past however many years? And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so true. It's like like if a Kardashian does something, everyone's sharing it. But if you do something who, you know, you're truly doing it yourself, is everybody sharing it too? And I think that's the power in collaborating with other small businesses and making that a priority, is because when you show up for them, you know, you don't want it to be like a, you know, I'm doing this for you for this in return, but it's like when you genuinely show that for other people, they're going to genuinely do that back for you.
Yeah, it's always a hard thing. I mean, it's always, even just like I said, I can't separate my faith from like anything. I feel like it's all I talk about. But like that's been from the very beginning. There's a prayer. I think it's called the Shema, but it's what anyways, the Lord said, say this: love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all your soul, and with all of your strength. These commandments I give you today are to be on your hearts, and press them on your children. Talk about them whenever you get up, when you lie down, whenever you go, whenever you stay. And he said, say this. And I think like in that culture, they said it like twice a day, but it all came to like love the Lord. And now that I'm a parent, I'm like, and I'm asking my kids to obey, like obey or you'll be disciplined, but just do it because you love me. Like, discipline you. But it like can be true for anything, like even just sharing like small business, like do it out of love, not out of an ROI. And like it's enjoyable. Like life is better.
You know, I feel like ROI is so, it's important in a business, right? Like you want to make sure you're putting your best effort into something that's going to return, come back to your business, be profitable. Otherwise, you're not going to stay in business. But having those relationships and building that community is long-term ROI that you can't see, that you can't define in this moment. But 10 years from now, you're going to look back and go, that's why I did that. You know, that's why I stuck in there. That's why I maybe collaborated with someone with nothing else in return. Like, this is why I did this, is because 10 years from now, I can look back and see all the fruits of our labor and how bountiful it is now that I didn't quite see because we weren't producing that yet. We weren't there yet. I think we were such an instant gratification lifestyle, obviously, like the microwave nation, the Instapot, you know, all these things. But it's that time, like, you know, I don't grow things. Like I don't have a garden. I do have an apple tree that produces so well. And like every year it's like bountiful. And like you realizing like, oh, just by being patient, taking care of things, like it's going to come back, it's going to be plentiful for you. So even though you can't see that ROI now on those relationships, like one day you're going to look back and be like, I'm so glad I did that I cheered those people on, that we stuck together. And maybe relationships change during the time, but just knowing that it was all worth it in the end.
Yeah, I think that's part of that, like that broken road that Rascal Flatts is talking about. You know, it's like I can have these relationships, I can have these different business relationships that maybe they didn't lead to like the big thing, but it's part of my journey. They're part of my story. I don't know. I read a book this summer that it talked about if somebody like stands out to you, doesn't matter where they are, doesn't matter what's going on. If somebody just kind of just looks like they're just outstanding to you, don't know why, you should go talk to them. 100% go up to them, start talking to them, let them know, hey, I feel like I should talk to you right now. And it's a weird way to start a conversation, so they're going to be intrigued. And it's crazy the kinds of relationships that you can create. And not only that, the kind of information that you have for people and the kind of information they have for you. And that's just on like a, hey, I saw you on the street and thought I'd say hi. And it's really, really interesting, you know, even seeing that in like the business owner aspect of just being like, hey, saw your business. I really like the colors you used. Good job picking up them colors. And if they respond, maybe they have something to say to you about your business, or maybe they like were actually really insecure about the colors that they used and you just gave them really good information. And it's part of that, you know, snaking through, figuring out where that, whatever it is, whatever journey we're on, you know?
Yeah.
Casey, you are probably like the most bravest person I know. And I know you live that. And I really admire that because I need to be like better.
Yeah.
Especially like I can do it in the online space, but doing it in the real world space, I think sometimes can be very intimidating.
If somebody just seems, just try it. If somebody just seems a little glowy, or, you know, I don't know how to explain it.
Glowy?
Yeah, just
glowy to me. I think we should talk.
Yeah, just, and you can
what
say
is your skincare routine?
You can say anything you want as long as it's nice. You can just go up to them and, you know, act like it's 1920. Just start talking to them. It's really, really amazing. I had one of my favorite times that this happened to me was in Chicago. I had a dog with me. It was when I was working in pet care. And this woman had a little Yorkie. And there was something that was drawing me to this woman. And I'd already heard this concept and I'd read a little bit of the book, but I hadn't been able to get like commit like I did this summer to it. So I was like, you know, I know enough. I can start a conversation with this lady. So I walked up to her and I was just like, hi, like, I feel drawn to you. How's your day? And she was like, I'm really glad you asked. I'm actually like kind of freaked out. And I was like, oh, what's going on? And she had a heavy accent that to me sounded like Austrian. And I happen to have had past connections to Austrians. So whenever I started talking to her, I was like, oh, maybe I am supposed to talk to her about something. And where we were at in this park, the Midwest is flat. As you probably know, it is flat. So when you, even in Chicago, when you're at an intersection, you have big, tall buildings, but everything's very flat. And you feel like everybody can see you, right? They can. It's just facts. You see people from blocks away in Chicago, you know? And anyway, she said, I just crossed that intersection and I got really, really anxious and really nervous. And I feel like I'm about to start panicking. And I was like, oh my
gosh.
Oh, where are you from? And she was like, you know, I'm from Europe. And so I gathered and I was like, are you from someplace mountainous? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, have you ever heard of Midwestern madness? And she was like, no. And I was like, let me tell you all about it. Europeans had a really, really hard time crossing the Midwest. It made them crazy. It's because they're used to mountains blocking their vision. They're used to things being broken up. And this is such a vastly different landscape. It's close. It's close enough, but it's completely flat, no mountains, and it stresses you out. I said, when I'm around mountains, I feel really stressed out. They call that megalophobia because I'm from the Midwest going someplace else.
Wow.
And she was like, I didn't know this. And I was like, yeah. And so like I helped her Google it and read through it. And I was like, you're normal. It's fine. I was like, I was like, maybe if you do feel like you need to talk to somebody professional about it, you know where to start now.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I feel so much better about it. I was like, yeah, your dog's cute. Have a good day. And I never ran into her again. Just completely did not run into her again.
Wow.
But it was really interesting because it's like, I feel like we approach people all the time as like without that open heart of maybe I have something for them, maybe they have something for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I'm like, I'm Mario right now, and there's a toad, and I need to go bump into him and be like, hey, where's that?
Throw a banana peel out there in the road.
It's really, to me, it has been a life-changing practice.
Wow.
I don't want to live any other way.
I'm gonna have to put that more to use. That's something. Oh man, that's so true though about just in whatever part of life you are, whether it's in personal life or business, just keeping your heart open for the right collaborations and the right opportunities for people. Because I mean, I've met, and I know Nathalie has too. We've all met amazing people along the way that we never would have imagined a year ago that we were going to connect with.
No, it's so true.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey, do you have any other questions for Nathalie?
No, I don't actually. I think we covered all the value-based questions.
One thing I do want to ask you before we close, because I know you have family and all this other stuff to do tonight, but do you have anything that inspires you with your business when it comes to your values? I know obviously your faith is very important. Is there anything else that like kind of bleeds over or truly inspires you for the decisions you make?
Yeah, we're on point with these open questions. Very introspective. Gosh. Yeah, well, the natural materials, that's been important from the beginning. But like the reasoning behind has really just been my own like health journey, and I really resonated, like I said at the beginning, with the woman with the bleeding disorder. And many years ago, like I was told that having kids might not be possible for me, and it was going to be a hard journey if I ever was going to have that. But I was told, quote unquote, but we have good drugs for that. And it just really turned me off. That was like the fourth doctor I had seen. So whenever I read that story of that woman, I just felt like I didn't quite understand what she was going through, but in so many ways it felt like my own story. And even just I went to medical school for a year, and at that point it was like the best one. Yeah, it's really not who I am anymore, but I pursued trying to understand what was wrong with me, at least from a medical point. And part of it was to just easier to understand the unknown. Like if I can understand it, it's not as scary, right? But it was still very it was confusing. So whenever I was in medical school, I was in one of the best one in the city. There's like two top ones in our state, and I was at one of the two. And so I was like, this is the place to be if I'm going to get healed. Like they know what they're talking about. And that was a doctor that said, oh, we have good drugs for that. And so she put me on one drug that turned into two, that turned into three.
Yeah.
And it was like everyone had another side effect. And I was just like, I felt so broken. I just wanted to like work, and I just wanted to just be functional. And I just felt it, like my faith was just broken. I was like, God, did you make me broken? Like what is this about? And why is my healing through quote unquote good drugs? My family history, there's a lot of drug addiction. It's not prescribed drug, but it is very much drug addiction. And I was like, is drugs just part of my family? Is this just something it was just really hard. It was a really very hard, dark season, dark many years, but especially the epitome of like where I was at. And so I learned that the way that we do healing in Western medicine is really only one avenue to healing, and it actually healing rarely happens. It's lifelong drugs is like really common, and when I realized that that's what's normal, but it's not the only option, that's when I just started second guessing everything, every food choice, relearning nutrition. Just crazy because even in medical school, you're given like one lecture on nutrition and there's like no substance to it. And it's even based on the current food pyramid, which is just, anyways, if you like.
Which is a pie now.
It's just, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
It really blows my mind. And it really, a lot of the food choices that we're like put with, yeah, it all goes back to big pharma, big conventional farming, like you name it, it goes to benefit them financially, like as a business thing. And it doesn't go back to like the heart of someone really just wanting to bear children or just wanting to like work. Like for me, I was like, anyways, it was a tough road, but I made lots of changes in my life. And even funny, I'll mention the microwave. Like we got rid of the microwave. Like we just learned like, okay, let's do food differently, and found other ways of eating, and like learned about BPA, learned about, where it's like really high in certain plastics, and just tried to change everything. And anyways, we've had 2 children now, and
the cutest.
Not on any good drugs. Lots of really good nutrition, and anyways, that story means everything to me, and it does guide a lot of my business choices, because I do want to put good natural materials in people's homes. Like we're literally living with these pieces. And they just, I don't know, there's something. I don't know if it's because since they're natural, like God actually made them, if they're just something that I feel connected to in that sense. But they're just like, even cotton is just like soft. Like once you really feel cotton, especially organic cotton, going back to like polyester or synthetic blends, it's just not good enough.
Yeah, it's really not. It's really not. And then it doesn't let you breathe.
It's weird.
It's suffocating.
Yeah, I never really gave it that much thought until I got these shirts from Nathalie, because I have a few organic cotton clothes, but they're all like very professional clothes, so it's not like daily wear whatsoever. So whenever I got these shirts, I was like, oh yeah, like these are gonna be like new shirts, and then my skin is like, we only want these shirts. And so anytime it's funny because like I'll even just be like, I literally don't want to wear anything else. So like I used to never really need to wear a t-shirt under like a hoodie or anything. It didn't really like make a difference to me. But now I'm like, I gotta have my Nathalie shirt.
I love that.
It just, now that I feel it on my skin, I can't go back to the There's no weird, like, this is something that will make Brittany laugh, but like there's some shirts that just give you like some weird like armpit weirdness.
Yes.
And it's like, why are you making my body feel this way? Like twice.
Detox from you.
Yeah, exactly. And your armpits, it's just like all up in your armpits or something. It's just like really weird. And you're like, I guess this is my life. I guess this is just what it's gonna be. But your shirts don't do that. And if anybody else shares the armpit weirdness, I have a solution for you. Shop at Fringe Free.
Fringe Free. Kelsey just commented, you are such an inspiration. And we absolutely agree with Kelsey. 100%. You don't know how many times me and Casey will be like talking about your business and everyday life, Nathalie. And I mean, seriously, like we'll be talking before you know, we're having a full-on conversation with someone about Fringe Free. And they're always like, Nathalie's an angel on earth, and if you just knew her like we knew her, you would know.
You call Brittany and be like, just got to talk to Nathalie.
Oh, like, well, I'm jealous. We love it. Well, Nathalie, I'm so thankful that you had time to talk with us tonight and share the story behind your business, but also the importance of sticking to first having values and sticking to your values as a business. I highly recommend anybody who has a business, take some time. If you don't have those values, like list it out, take some time to reflect on those things and make sure everything you're doing and every decision you're making stays true to that. We know that Nathalie always is intentional with everything she does, and that's one of the many reasons why we respect what you do, Nathalie. And your products are amazing too.
Yes.
So I've got Fringe and Free plant hangers all over my house, although I will admit my plants don't look as good as your plant hangers, but I'm going to keep trying until I find that magical plant that lives for me. I'm trying. I'm on a journey. If anyone has any plant advice, well, first of all, you can give me advice. I can't promise I'm going to follow it, but I'm just going to keep finding that plant that will survive me.
Writing a comment so fast. End it before you have to read it.
We gotta go.
Yeah. All right. I also want to add too that you can get all those products and more from fringeandfree.com. Follow her on Instagram at fringeandfree. One of my favorite things that I was actually able to get my mom that was a Fringe and Free thing was the large American flag.
Mm-hmm.
So important to her as a World War II veteran daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Her getting that, she absolutely loved it. It's a really way to beautifully display a patriotic decoration that have like colors that can kind of like live in whatever space that it's at. So it's not like as vibrant as the red, white, and blue in like a traditional flag. It's really beautiful. It's really well made. It's huge. It's really good. Now that we like have it in person and it's in her home, she's so proud of it. Every time Mom walks past it, she just goes, "Love my flag." Well, that's my flag. So perfect gift for anyone. Perfect gift for anyone. Definitely a good gift to give veterans and their children who miss them very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, the flags are very wonderful. We have a big size and an even bigger size, so 2 sizes. And my husband loves both of them. So there's some pieces that we have in our home for us, and we have 2 of those.
They're great.
Kelsey says, "I know what I'm getting my mother-in-law for Mother's Day." Yes,
it's a great idea.
Would love that.
It's really beautiful.
It
really,
is.
Really beautiful.
It's beautiful in your photos, but it really is even more beautiful in person. And I'm going to add, Nathalie does a lot of custom work. I don't know if you want more custom work, Nathalie, but I'm going to add that in there. She does, like, she'll make wall pieces. Like, if you send her a picture of your space and you really want something that's a statement piece to be in that, Nathalie does. She does everything with macrame and knots and all the good things. So we'll sing your praises all day long. All right. Well, Nathalie, is there anything else you want to add, like letting people know how they can work with you beyond that, or anything else you want to add about your business?
No, I think y'all covered it. If anyone wants a reminder how to bless any small business, leave any product reviews if you can. Leave them a review on their Facebook page. They have a Google business account. Leave them a review there. I think those can just go so far. I don't think people realize you may be the only person leaving a review, or you may be one of 10. And people see it every single day. Every single day, new people will see it. And it's a way to really bless any small business. So I really encourage you to leave some great reviews for small businesses. And it helps even just other people being able to find them online. By you just leaving a Google review on their Google account, their Google business account, it helps their search engines. Even if no one is going to Google, it informs Google this is a legitimate business, and they're more likely to find them online. So helping all the small businesses out as much as you can to survive on e-commerce. I just recommend that you do that.
Absolutely. We agree 100% with all the things Nathalie said and so much more. Well, Nathalie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and hopefully we will see you next week. All right. Good night.
Have a good night.